Hey there everybody. Today is November 1st. It's around 60 degrees. We've had one frost so far, and we've had several days since then that have been upper 50s, low 60s. So none of my plants are asleep yet, but the work continues to update some of the garden beds, and I have reached a point where I thought it was a good point to stop and show you some of the things we've been doing. So let's take a look. So what we are looking at here are the beds that we were growing the potatoes in using the Ruth Stout method with straw and the waste hay from the rabbit cages and enclosure. You can see we've done some fall leaves. So the leaf is the actual raised bed itself. We have four hills that we grew the potatoes in. We also had some onions in there interplanted. Those did not fare as well until this last couple of weeks when the onions have started coming up. So they've been buried a little bit more in some leaves, but then the town dropped off wood chip. So we have been lining the walkways in the beds. I found that more often than not, when I was hilling the potatoes, I did not have enough leftover waste to really attack the problem of, first pushers of fertility in the ground. So the weedy species, dandelions, docks, clover, some of the wood sorrel. So we went a little heavy handed on the chips, but we've also been making a more definite pathway in between the beds. And per an earlier discussion, we have gone into the 2-year-old raised bed, and we have split it into two roughly 3-foot sections here, and a nice wood chip pathway. This will settle down a little bit more over winter, and as we're walking on it, the challenge is going to be banking more on the downhill side so that we have an easier time remaining balanced. So we'll occasionally come through, and when it's really drastic, what the height difference is, we can kick it over and kind of pack it down so that it's more level. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to be adjusting this for a while, I'm sure. Every year brings a new iteration. But we've also been extending the footprint of this bed as well, and making it so that these have more of a connected feel to them, rather than kind of feeling a little disjointed and separate in a mental space, as it were. So we've been collecting what are called pallet protectors. These are generally 4 foot by 4 foot, 3 foot by 4 foot. It depends on which stores you're getting them from, but these are just the little cardboard pallet sheets that go in between rippable commercial products in food stores, pet stores, those sorts of things. So we, during a town trip, will hit a few stores, ask for these, maybe go dumpster diving if we get permission, possibly go dumpster diving if we don't. But we'll collect these up and layer them a few thick, overlapping, to make sure that we're covering gaps and holes. So you can see this guy's got a little tear in it, but if we look down, there's more cardboard underneath, and then some of the leaf litter underneath that. So this should be good to go. We're gonna take some more of these wood chips, pour them out, and I'll explain what exactly we're going for in just a moment. Alright, so we added another wheelbarrow or two of wood chip. I know some of these are a little further out than others, but the wind has been blowing a little bit fierce during this project, so I'm just trying to hedge my bets a little bit. And what we're doing is piling the woody debris up to make a better footpath for these raised beds, and then with the final mow of the field here, we'll be banking all of that up basically around where you see the cardboard. if we decide to make new raised beds there, that'll be a good boost of nitrogen for the cardboard and wood chip to break down. We can pile extra leaves as it's not even close to done yet, so we can keep banking fertility that way, or it'll just be kind of a smother layer for the grass that is up against the edges of the cardboard. And a special note about the considerations we have, our property is on kind of a large slope. Sorry for the wind. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So we do have a pretty steep grade at points, so the consideration for this bed is that we don't want any water resting in one spot for too long. We do want a lot of carbon to help soak it up, but in the event of large storms, which are becoming, I guess, more common in our winter period, or at least they're becoming more large scale, the water holding capacity of the storm systems has been growing, so may not get as many, but they're more intense. So with the spring melt and intense nor'easters during the fall and winter, we want to make sure that any kind of runoff is used by this whole bed, but that there is a small curvature out from the center, so that if water has any velocity or needs to move, there is a clear path for it to move, not just through the bed, but down and along the sides. And as we build out the perennial beds back here, we'll have those come up and start interacting with this system more and more until we come up to the fields back here, probably connecting with the baby pawpaw that's back behind that white thing, so that you'll be able to come in, get some annual vegetables, do rotational crops for things that we find make good staples for our lifestyles and the plants that I enjoy planting because I think they're fun and tasty. But we'll also be transitioning towards the future. You can see some trellising for Herblitzia that we have in there, as well as one of our raised bed platforms that we've been using to kind of block off an area this season. So that's our project for today. How are you guys using the fertility of this season in your gardens? We'd love it if you'd share some notes too, how you're banking all of this carbon and mineral fertility, what your plans are for the season after this, and how you're gearing for success. As always, thanks for watching. Happy planting.